Leslie. Zazoo Plazz. How's everybody doing? 7 in the morning, August 25th, 2025. I've got to get a new microphone. How's everybody doing? Sunday morning. I got some new decorations. This goes with my scarf. You know, the one that I had a couple weeks ago. And the little pink fly swatter flower. It's beautiful. And I got a new thing to hang on my door. So put that right there. Oh good, she's leaving. She's leaving, my neighbor. Yay. She's going to work and I'm not. Bye. Here we are for the Zazoo Plazz report. 21st Sunday. Goodbye. She just came back from her vacation. Oh, that's better. Look at these people. They've got these little microphones and they go like this. I don't want one of those. I don't want that. It's stupid. Look at me. No, I'm not going to do that. I'll think of something. It's Virgo season. Oh boy, we're going to have some fun today. Sun's in my 12th house, where my Pluto and Uranus are. It's going to be fun. I can't wait. You can get some nice things at the dollar store. I got that. It just makes me happy, you know? There's so much serious stuff on there, social media. I've had a week. Let's see, phone decor. So, as I usually do on the Zazoo Plazz report, if you're new here, welcome. Whatever. You know, hit the thing, do what you want. If you want to see this every week, you have good taste, you know. Hit the button, do the thing, whatever. I'm not going to waste my time. I only have 30 minutes. Yeah, so I made my quiche last week. You know, I was telling you about. I think I want to get rid of that damn pan because it's got holes. So yeah, it lets the air in, but everything drains out of it. So I did my quiche. I was so tired. What was it, Friday night? Friday night. I said, oh, I'm so damn tired. But I'm going to make the quiche, so I'll have it Saturday, you know, the weekend, so I won't have to cook. This is good. It came out great. I just used the regular old pie plate, and I just pre-baked it. I put foil in the bottom, and then you put lentils in for pie weights, and it came out great. And then I put all my stuff in, red peppers and eggs and milk and spinach. You gotta cook the spinach and the onions and stuff. Get that all going. Then you add the egg and all that stuff, and then you pour it into the quiche, you know, into the pie shell. It was so good. I had it last night. Made a little salad. I'm gonna have it again tonight. I mean, I could eat it 3 nights in a row. It's good. It's so good. Goat's cheese, feta cheese, and I sprinkled a little cheddar cheese in there because the feta, you know, I wanted to put it in the salad, so I filled the rest of it up with cheddar cheese, light cheddar cheese. It was so good. I just felt like eating a quiche. I know real men don't, but I'm not a man, so I enjoyed it. Anyway, so quiche. Then we are back. Oh, neighbor. I can't read my own shorty. I'm in a silly mood today. Oh, and then I have this other story. So, marshmallow marvelous. Okay, so did I say the story? I'll tell it again for the new people. So, you know, it's getting to the end of the summer. So, at the beginning of the summer, I bought myself, you know, the nice body stuff, the fancy kind that they used to sell at the mall, and now I don't even know if they're there. I get it online. You know, the store that you know, you go in. This is a very Virgo kind of thing. It's more of a Libra thing, but you know, you used to go in and they'd have all the samples and you, my ex-husband, poor guy, I think he's we're married 28 years and I think he probably spent half of that in the Bath and Body Shop. Trying out scents, you know, and for my birthday and, you know, Mother's Day and times like that, I would tell I'd tell him, no, I'd like some, you know, I want some nice shower gel, and because I'm a smell person, you know, body lotion, because it makes, you know, I can go cheap on other things, but I need some luxury in my life, just a little bit. And I like to change it with the seasons. But it's funny, because I can use the fall stuff in the summer, you know, different seasons. It doesn't have to be that season. Although I do tend to like to, you know, keep it, you know, winter I like to use like the, you know, the fall winter scents, the darker ones. And in the summer I like to use the lighter scents. Yeah, so you know, I used to go in there. I couldn't pick it out for myself because I get so overwhelmed by all the damn smells. And then, you know, you get all the little samples, and you walk out of there and you have like all these different scents on you. And once he brought our sons, you know, and the little one, he was real little, like at the age where he was still putting stuff in his mouth. And this sales girl, she puts like the foaming stuff. He sticks out his hand and she puts like the foaming, you know, stuff on his hand. He thought it was whipped cream and he put it in his mouth. You know, his dad is like, ah, what were you thinking? Giving a baby, you know, this soap, but whatever. Anyway, she's not working there anymore. Yeah, and he's the kid who used to take the whipped cream, the whoosh. I used to call it whoosh when I was a baby. He'd stand in the fridge, take the whipped cream can and go right into his mouth. That was that kid. Anyway, oh yeah. So I had bought myself, you know, online. I go online, I get the coupon and whatever. Some nice beach scented shower gel and some it was like watermelon and spice or something. It was, no, cool watermelon something. And I thought, ooh, that sounds nice. So kind of, okay. So it is nice. But the food ones, I have trouble. If I put it on my upper body, it was so overwhelming that I kept smelling myself. I couldn't get anything done. So it's the same thing in the winter when I put the vanilla stuff on. I kept wanting to eat cookies. So I can't put the food lotion up near my nose. I have to put it on my legs. And then the other stuff I can put on my, you know, like the other kind of scents that aren't food, I can put on my upper body. So I said, ooh, I wanted watermelon ice, you know, sherbet or something. I didn't get anything done that day. Then I figured out, oh, I'll just put the other lotion over it. And, you know, it was fine. And then, so I found that out this week. Yeah. And then, yeah, so, you know, it's funny, but there's two rants. Okay, Zazoo, hurry it up. Okay, I got a couple of rants. The whole thing, everybody's talking about, I went into this on Facebook, but you know how they're changing the logos of restaurants and things. You know, that happened this week. And, you know, it seems to me that they're taking the humans out of the logos in the restaurants, you know, and everything is just, they you know, like Land O'Lakes butter, you know, they took the lady out of the middle. It's just an O now. And it's, you know, like, this restaurant, you know, with the guy out on the porch, on the chair, so anyway, that was, my in-laws used to like to go there, so we'd always go there with them. And she, my mother-in-law, she'd go in the gift shop, and it was a nice family kind of place to go. I mean, it wasn't my favorite food. The food was a little heavy. They didn't have too many healthy options, so we didn't go there too often. Now and then we go there with the kids and my in-laws. My dad likes, he likes to take out from there. He did that on Thanksgiving one year. But, the thing is, people would stop there, buses full of people would go in. It was a homey, comforting place. That's what people need now more than ever. And what are they doing? These companies, they're so afraid of offending somebody that they're taking all the human out of our, dehumanizing the very places that we need to be human. The places where we meet, where we eat, where we, spend time with family and friends, right? Those restaurants should just stick to the food. Not, why would you change something that obviously works? I mean, I guess that's one of the things that bothers me, kind of burns me up. That people need places of warmth, of gathering, of togetherness, not judgment, not, correctness, not, trying to please everybody, but rather, welcoming. Okay, and the readings are about that today. Yeah, so I'm leading up to it, so don't worry, it always comes together at the end. Okay, Zazoo, said your piece. All right, and so I go, social media. I ghosted some people this week. I have to wipe, I'm a 3-5 in human design. I have to wipe things clean every now and then and put them back together to see, did I miss this in my life or not? Do I want this in my life or not? And people don't understand it, but don't take it personally. This is just how I move through life. If you got ghosted, if you thought I acted a little strange this week, if I unfollowed you and then I refollowed you, I'm just going through a period of trying to figure out, how can I be authentic? How can I show up in life? So if I'm bearing my soul and I'm spending a lot of time crafting, creating original things, right? I don't do AI. I don't do it. I don't care. It's fake to me. I'm not going to do something that is fake. And I'm not going to follow people who are hypocrites, If they're saying, oh, yeah, I'm here for you, and then they're getting corporate sponsorships, and they're pretending that they're, an entrepreneur. There's somebody who, it doesn't want to be part of the matrix, but then they're taking, corporate sponsorships. That makes me wonder, who are we dealing with here? This person is just trying to make money, and people are giving them money, and they're trying to make everybody think that they're building up fear about things, making people question ego-centered things like how old you are or what you look like, or your health or whatever, making you question your ability to be a self, a sovereign being, and taking money from the very companies that exist because people have these insecurities. I'm just saying, if somebody's doing that, they're on thin ice with me. I might like the community that they have built and the camaraderie, but I think I'm going to be doing my own thing, because I'm back and forth on this. I'm like, haven't we outgrown this? I feel like I kind of have. Anyway, get Zazoo, stop it. You said too much already. love all of you. Yeah, Virgo. So, the first reading from Isaiah, Mercury has to do with, languages, and Mercury rules Virgo. And, so we're hearing about, Prophet Isaiah, saying the Lord is, he knows what you're thinking. So that's like Mercury, Mercury's in Leo now. But, God knows our thoughts. He knows our heart. So he knows who's open to hearing his message, right? And these are the people, so those, he's going to send them out to all nations of the world, people who haven't heard of God's message, right? So if you haven't heard it, he's saying, this is left over from last week. It's like, you can't be, God can't hold that against you if you've never heard the word of God. You've never heard, you've never been exposed to these concepts, right? So you're still kind of in the dark, right? And yet, some people from birth have, been in religious, have heard these things, but, they haven't let it into their hearts and minds, you see? So that's the theme for the week. That, if you have heard these things, you're among the first, right, to get it. So it's upon you then to do the work to make sure that you up-level yourself so that you can be ready, when the time comes to, move into this new kingdom, this new way of living that, God, that we're destined for, that God wants to move us into. He wants this, right? But you've got to do the work. So there's discipline involved, right? Yeah. So this is, he's going to send people out to the ancient trading and seafaring nations, of the old world, right? So these are people who trade, like their world is a very 3D. It's trading goods. It's sacrificing, old time, sacrificing animals and stuff. And so he's saying, no, you're going to bring these people back on mules, horses, chariots, camels. So these are beasts of burden, right? They would put the goods on them and bring them back. Well, God's saying, no, there's going to be people. In other words, he's using the symbolism, and then among the people who come back from all over the world, some will be chosen to be the leaders, So Virgo is a sign of service, of work, right? Animals of service, right? Burden, it's a cadent sign. And this is just my random thoughts, whatever. It's the last of the first 6 signs where focus is on the individual. And then the next, 7 through 12 is on our service to others, right? So we're finding out, how are we going to be useful to our community, to the world? It's up on us to figure out, who am I? And, by this point we should know. And then, where do I fit in? Where can my gifts be useful? Right? So that's what Virgo has to do with. So, but of course, Virgo can also be critical. It can be self-critical. It can be critical, obsessive, like with cleanliness and perfection. Right? That's the shadow of Virgo. I know about this. I have two generational planets in Virgo. Uranus and Pluto in the middle, opposite Chiron conjunct Saturn. So I know about this. Now Chiron is the wounded healer. That's where we experience pain, and then we can go out and help other people from, our own wound, right? And then, so you look where Chiron is in your chart, and then you see the aspects of it like especially to the ascendant, which I don't think I have any. I have Sun. No, I have Chiron conjunct Saturn, opposite Uranus and Pluto. The 6th and the 12th house. So I'm anyway, it's a thing. If you were born in the mid-60s, you also have this, and so you know. Okay, so yeah, so, and the thing is all people, right? Not just some people, right? So some go out to all the world and tell the good news. So that's Mercury the messenger, right? Tell the good news. And then we have Paul with the Hebrews again. We had that last week. I think we have the Hebrews last week. Yeah. The cloud of witnesses. So we have, okay, so it's a message of discipline. Like when you're a kid, right? Your parents discipline you, and you think it's pain, but later you find out the fruit of it is peace, right? Through discipline. That's like Saturn, and pain, that's Chiron, right? So through pain, it's only because God loves us, source, that we go, we're given this discipline to set us on the right path, right? Make straight your hand, your feet, get your feet on the straight path. So failing, also, some of us, it teaches us what we don't want. So, in my case, I made a lot of mistakes growing up. And there were some people who, and my feeling was, I can't make any mistakes because people won't love me anymore. I'm supposed to be perfect. So anyway, yeah, so much for that. That's why I'm a humorist, folks. What you end up when you're a kid who's supposed to make mistakes and then talk about them, and when you grow up with people, and as a Catholic, where God help you if you make a mistake, the nuns are going to make you go to confession. And people, and you better not make a mistake because you're going to hear about it, right? Forever. Anyway, don't lose heart. I'm the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. I love that one. That is one of the most confusing, the whole narrow path thing, right? This is so Virgo. So Jesus is out teaching, Luke 13. Chapter 13, Luke, Gospel of Luke. Lord, will only a few be saved? Okay, so this is the, the question is, okay, I want to know how many. That's detail, right? That's details is Gemini, but Virgo is kind of like, it's very, Virgo's concerned with wholeness, right? So it's the maiden, the virgin or whatever. But really, it's the that's the great misconception. It's a misconception. Misconception, get it? Okay. All right. That's a really bad joke. Zazoo. Yeah. So it's just wholeness, though. It means, Virgo got a bad name. It got a kind of funny name for it, but it really means wholeness, to become whole within yourself, a woman who doesn't depend on a man, right? So that's for, but Virgos, wants to know with the details. They're good at like computer programming. My son's a Virgo. His birthday's coming up. He's going to be 25 in about a week. So yeah, they're good at like graphic design, computer programming, Virgos, they're very good at that, that kind of thing. So he said, those who strive to, he says to strive to enter through the narrow gate. So he said many will try to enter but not be strong enough. So there, I think there's a Chiron message there about the gate, that's Chiron. And the Pisces Virgo axis. I read that in a book. I'm not going to quote it right now, but that's, Chiron's in Aries now. Yeah. So I'm not going to analyze all this. I'm just going to put it out here and let you think whatever you want. These are things I think of. So Chiron, it's sacrificial love for others, healing the core wound, especially to self. So in the gospel reading, Jesus tells the parable of the master of the house locking the door, and people are knocking on the door. That's like that tarot card where the people are in the snow outside and you see the nice warm, glow of light inside, like church or whatever. That's kind of the vibe, I think. So they're out in the cold and they're saying, Master, we ate with you. You taught in our streets. You know us, right? Yeah, but, and then there's wailing and the grinding of teeth. And that dentists love that reading because then they can, fix the teeth. That's not good at grinding your teeth. It's bad for the enamel. Saturn. Okay, so then he says the last will be first, and some of the first will be last, and the last will be first. So you get this idea of, people who, like I said earlier, people who've been, from birth immersed in, some kind of religious practice, and yet they don't get it. Like they haven't done the work on themselves, right? They're counting on some priest or some organized religion to do it for them, right? But Jesus wasn't about that. He wanted us to realize that we ourselves, that's the work, that's the gate, all right? And so, so obviously, knocking on heaven's door. I might have done this song before, but I like the Guns N' Roses version of it, being Gen X. But apparently it was originally written by Bob Dylan and released in August 1973. Went to the top 10 in the U.S. for this movie, which I was 7 at the time, and I never saw. I got this pen with a Z on it. Look at that. It's got a Z on it. But it's kind of like, it bothered me because it had a damn sticker on it. And then I took the sticker off and it was all sticky under, so I had to put another sticker on there anyway. Virgo. Guns N' Roses. I'm going to put 2 videos. One, the Guns N' Roses version from like 88 or something. And then there's one with Bob Dylan. He's okay. Kind of a boomery thing. I never really got into his music, but his lyrics are great. He's a great writer, great. I don't like I have to say, I love his ideas and his lyrics, but I prefer them sung by Guns N' Roses, because that's my generation. It hits me there. But great song. It's some movie called Pat Garrett and Billy the Kid, a Western, I guess, that came out around the same time that had a soundtrack. So this was on the soundtrack. So it was covered by a lot of artists, like Eric Clapton, Guns N' Roses. They said it was an exercise in splendid simplicity. I love that. And it just had 2 short verses. And I guess the characters in the song relate to the characters in the movie, right? Slim or Mama, whatever, Mama. I mean, I never knew that. I thought Guns N' Roses wrote this song because I heard it when I was like 23, 22, came out. I thought they wrote the song. I didn't know it, Bob Dylan. I didn't even know who Bob Dylan was. Well, I did, but not, like hippie stuff. I thought Guns N' Roses wrote this song. And that is the case with a lot of the stuff that, we're born too late to know any of that other. And, we didn't have access to Google back then. So how would we have known that Guns N' Roses didn't write the song? Anyway. All right. So some of the lyrics, though. You better start sniffing your own rank subjugation, Jack. So, in other words, face your demons and your struggles, right? Deal, discipline, pain, that's where it's at. Rank subjugation, right? Your own, you against your tattered libido. The bank and mortician forever, right? Yeah. So, in other words, get your priorities straight, And, it's not luck to get out of life alive. It's not just luck. In other words, getting out of life alive means your soul, right? Doing things that keep your soul alive, rather than, going along with the crowd and never really facing yourself, And then after facing yourself, then offering yourself as healed to service of humanity, right? That's what it's all. That's the narrow path, I think. That's how I see it today, anyway. I'll change my mind next week. Yeah, so that's it for today's version of the Zazoo Plazz report. And a beautiful week. I think Labor Day's coming up. I don't know. Getting some little things together. What do you give a kid for his 25th birthday? I got a couple of things, but mostly they just want that green stuff, So I found a funny card, we'll do something. I can't believe it was 25 years ago I was going to be a mom for the first time. Wow. Yikes. So until next time, see you next week. Same place, different time. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.